Like, I remember being so mad because I was like, Hester Prynne is
Mhm.
like shouldering this giant burden.
Mhm.
Arthur Dimmesdale over here is just like done with his life. He's like, oh, I feel really bad about it, but oh, I'm not gonna say anything. Like, oh, my guilt. And like everyone's like, oh my God, you're such a godly man. You're leading our community. You're so wonderful. So I was carrying that around for a while and thinking about like the kind of the differences of power, and especially in like a very religious community. And so kind of in writing this book, like a complicated story in which, he is someone who Tess sees as very safe. He's the youth group leader, and he seems to be listening to her. And the youth group and faith in general is something that Tess really responds to and is positive for her in many ways. It's not just like this terrible place that, takes advantage of her and everyone is awful. So I think it was something that, like you said, represents so much of this, these abuses of power. And so I think he, kind of was standing in for all of that, but also surrounded by other good things where, Tess throughout the novel, like really, feels connection to faith and to God. And she is not kind of put off by this like truly terrible experience that she has. She wants to kind of reclaim her faith. So I think both in terms of looking at it as like Alden as, someone who is like a truly awful person and a stand-in for, many people who abuse power in, whether it is faith settings, school settings, athletic settings, but also as someone who is part of a complex community dynamic.